Hello, fellow humans. Chris here again. So, I know we've had a lot of stuff going on this week, and I've actually wanted to get on and address a few more thoughts regarding everything that's been happening at the Capitol. But tonight, I wanted to talk about something a little bit closer to home. So, Trevor Seever was a 29-year-old man. He was just recently, December 29th, he was shot down and killed by a police officer in Modesto, a neighboring town from where I'm at. And he was unarmed. The circumstances are still being investigated, but his sister called 911 for the police due to some sort of domestic disturbance. And apparently, this fellow had had a few violent instances in the past, so there was some concern. But the police showed up, and he was unarmed, but he was fatally shot. I actually saw the body cam footage. It was quite disturbing, very graphic, and he didn't die at the scene. He died later at the hospital. So you actually hear his cries of pain. Um, but what caught my eye was I was watching the news last night. This is how I found out about the story. They were showing demonstrations outside of the Modesto Police Department. So right now, the officer that's involved is under paid administrative leave, pending an investigation. His family was there, friends were there, a lot of people were there outside demonstrating, and the Turlock chapter of Black Lives Matter was there. And I saw the signs, and that caught my eye, and then they even did an interview with one of them, one of the Black Lives Matter folks, and he was just talking about police brutality and seeking justice for Trevor. And I just thought that was so profound. My first instinct was that's curious, but then I thought about everything that I know, everything that I've learned about Black Lives Matter in this last year, even thinking back to my interview with Jessica shortly after the George Floyd murder. And one of the takeaways that I've gotten is that Black Lives Matter believes in all lives matter. When you retort to somebody saying Black Lives Matter with all lives matter, you're missing the point of Black Lives Matter in such a large way. You know, the addendum to Black Lives Matter is all lives can't matter until Black Lives matter. And I think back to things that I've learned, and one of the things that Jessica had told me in our conversation was that she felt that systematic racism hurts white people more than it hurts black people. I told her at the time, and I still maintain now, that I don't believe that that's true. However, I understand kind of where she's coming from, and I think that the idea was that white folks as a whole, as a community, we are unable to grow because we're not experiencing the side that they're experiencing, and it's creating this sort of division in our experience. And this is where empathy comes in. And this was something that I did do a video on, of course, on empathy and when it comes to Black Lives Matter and white privilege. But it just caught my eye, and it was just nothing profound to say about it. I just wanted to comment on it. That I think it's important to remember that much like feminism, much like affirmative action, gay marriage even, civil rights, gay rights, all these movements, they're not about putting one community up above another. They're really not. They're about leveling the playing field. And if somebody sees something unjust, if they're a righteous person, if they're a person that strives for justice and equality, they're going to speak out. And that's why Black Lives Matter was there. And that's why it makes complete sense that Black Lives Matter would be there. Because they want justice. And they want police reform and that goes across the board. So it's just something to think about. If you're thinking that Black Lives Matter is somehow exclusive of the problems that other people experience, and you're just really not getting it. But anyway, we'll watch that story closely and hope that justice is served for Trevor, whatever that ends up being, whatever the circumstances end up coming out of that. But something to think about. I think more than ever we need to try to remain united in our goals and our visions and bring people together. And I think the takeaway there is that Black Lives Matter is all lives matter. That's just the way I look at it anyway. Anyway, thanks for the words. And remember, don't be afraid to question the consensus.